It's sad to leave one good movie and then rush immediately into a rather crappy reboot film. Okay, let me explain some behind the scenes stuff in between the last Spider-Man movie and this one. Basically, Sony who are the movie producers, and Sam Raimi who's the movie director, came to have issues over his plan for Spider-Man 4. Reportedly, he wanted the main villain to be the Vulture. Kind of funny considering the fact that in Spider-Man Homecoming, the villain is the Vulture. For those of you who are wondering when this is being recorded, this is recorded before Spider-Man Homecoming is out, so I haven't seen that movie yet. So, yeah, I can't speak about Homecoming in this one or make allusions to it. I'm just going to say that Vulture is the main villain in that movie, because at the moment in trailers he's the main villain. And it's kind of funny seeing all this mess start with Vulture and it coming full circle with Vulture and Homecoming. Anyway, he wanted Vulture to be the main villain, and they wanted anyone else to be the villain. Sony basically put their foot down and took the film rights away from Raimi, and he left the project to work on Drag Me to Hell. I think was his next movie after that, which was a pretty decent horror movie, pretty good horror movie, honestly, pretty scary, and had Sam Raimi's trademark creepiness in it. I guess creepy visual effects. Anyway, enough about a good movie. Back to this piece of shit. Anyway, from there, Sony planned to make a reboot of Spider-Man film, mainly for the main reason, and only the main reason, to keep the film rights from reverting to Marvel. You see, they basically have to make a Spider-Man film every so often, else Marvel will get their rights back to the films, and then Sony will stop making money off Spider-Man, which they don't want to do. Although they only make money off the sales of movies, as Marvel makes any of the toy rights, all that stuff, that all goes to them. So these movies failing as hard as they did is the reason that we have Homecoming and all. So let's applaud these movies for sucking so hard. Anyway, they wanted to get some of that Avengers money, and so Sony planned to create their own cinematic universe to rival Marvel's that was all based around Spidey and his villains. And yet again, they failed so spectacularly. Honestly, you could call this movie the Amazing Spider fail. But it's the worst kind of leaping before you look. Adding some of the worst elements of the Spider-Man mythos to add some form of intrigue and bring it all to the forefront. But let's get on to this crappy plot. Peter Parker's obsessed with Oscorp. And trust me, that will be incredibly stupid when we get to the sequel. He's obsessed with Oscorp, believing that they're partially responsible for the disappearance of his parents. Meanwhile, he loses his Aunt May and Uncle Ben, and after an accident at Oscorp, comes out of it all with spider powers. After learning that his father's old research assistant, after he learns of his father's old research assistant, Dr. Kirk Connors, he goes to see him, and inadvertently helps him become a lizard. Uncle Ben dies, Connor turns himself to a lizard, and Peter stops the lizard from turning New York into a city of lizards. Is that everything that happened? That's everything that happened. Why is this movie so damn long? I guess we should start off with the list. The lizard looks horrible in this movie. He has the whole lizard body, human face thing, which is a similar issue to what Michael Bay does in TMNT redesigns in that movie. And I get why they do it. They do it to make the whole face more human for the sake of animation, for better lip flaps. Because again, it makes no sense how they can talk so well without, lips. Enunciating on P's and all that stuff. Like, I'm using my lips right now just saying the word lip. Lip flaps. So, again, he looks ugly with this whole human face and lizard body combo that doesn't look right. Also, they never fully explain his motivation at all. I get why he made himself to a lizard. He wants to get his arm back. But they never explain why Ash Lizard, his next step is, I'm going to turn all of New York into lizards. Hooty hooty hoo. I kind of get that he wants to perfect the formula so that he'll stop turning back into the lizard and, stop turning back and, stay with his fully grown arm. But I don't understand why he wants to do that to everyone else. It makes no goddamn sense. I never even bother trying to explain it because they just think, oh, he's a villain. That's the logical next step for a villain to do. They also don't explain his whole protective feelings towards Peter at the end of the movie against this mysterious shadowy figure who's meant to be a continuous threat for future films, but no more future films. In the comics, the lizard is a more bestial, animalistic split personality. Even when he's smart, wants to turn others into himself, It's more of a show of dominance than anything else, and not really some big master plan. Unlike here, it's really confusing. Also, confusing is the plot line with Peter's parents. This is literally the least interesting thing in the movie and its sequel. Hell, in the sequel, they make it worse with the alternate ending. Hell, when this stuff is brought up in. When stuff about old Petey's parents are brought up in the comics, it's always either a trap for someone to kill him, such as the chameleon making a bunch of androids his parents so he can kill Peter, or a majority of writers just straight out ignoring of all this crap because his parents were former SHIELD agents or something. I don't know, and I'm someone who's intrigued by the Spider-Man mythos. Yet I do not care about this crap because just Peter Parker's parents are not important to Peter Parker. It's overall stupid, and making this the main mystery of the films is just plain dumb. And again, stuff in the next movie, that alternate ending, make this plot point somehow even worse. Speaking of Peter, Andrew Garfield is the worst actor to play Peter Parker. Let me elaborate on this. He works great as Spider-Man. He's a perfect Spider-Man, but he's not Peter Parker. He doesn't work as Peter Parker. Basically, here's how I see it. Here's how it's often explained. Spider-Man is Peter Parker without the filter. Peter Parker Spider-Man with a giant filter put on so he can fit in social situations, feels awkward, social awkwardness and all that stuff. But again, Spider-Man does not have the filter. That's why Spider-Man does all his famous quips. He's the first one to jump into danger because he believes he has to. And basically speaking, in this movie, he's the same in and out of costume. I cannot see a switch from Peter Parker to Spider-Man in this movie. Some people might say that's a good thing. I say that doesn't fit with the character. I imagine that he's a fine actor, and that maybe you put him in a better movie, a better direction, he can do a good job. But he is crap in this film, and ergo, he's the worst Spider-Man that we've had so far. I'm not counting the Broadway show, because that was a show, not a movie. Oh, and speaking of dumb, the crane scene. I get it, you want your own version of the bridge scene from the first movie, but that worked because of very American kitsch at the time. This doesn't work because we didn't have all that rah-rah America together thing going on around this time. In fact, I think we're all falling apart. Like we are currently falling apart. I guess I should mention something good to offset all the bad. I'll admit, the suit they have is actually pretty cool. I do like it. It's a pretty decent design for a Spider-Man suit. And the chemistry between Andrew Garfield's Peter Parker and whoever's playing Gwen Stacy is pretty great. But those are just the actors. That's not the script at all. Because apparently these two were dating in real life, and that's where all the romantic chemistry came from. Because anything that was in this script was bullshit. Also, I do like the fact that Gwen wants to come up with the lizard cure because it gives her something to do outside of being damsel in distress watch from the sidelines. Also, one thing. When Captain Stacy was acting in the movie, why didn't Peter decide to use the lizard formula on him? I mean, he had it in his hands, and it would have cured, and it would have healed him. If he's worried about him being stuck as a lizard, there was currently a cure all around him. He would have been cured pretty quickly. In fact, the cure literally deployed 10 seconds later after he died. So again, Peter, you killed Captain Stacy because you weren't thinking, you dumbass, and your whole plot, and this movie sucks. It just leads to another dumb plot point in the next movie. Overall, this is nothing more than a Sony cash grab and another waste of time. And while the next movie is somehow slightly better than this one, it's still worse in terms of overall character narrative.